Hello, testing the audio. Testy, 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 test. Testing the audio. Okay, that seems to be going just fine. So, hello everyone, and welcome to the October 2024 monthly update. Now, those very perceptive viewers will realise that this live stream is not being done in the month of October. It is in fact the 1st of November, and that is because the final day of October happens to coincide with a rather important Western holiday called Halloween. And I was very busy on Halloween, so I didn't have time to do this live stream, so I'm doing it today instead. So, what have I been doing this month? Well, I have done a song. I haven't actually done this song this month. I don't think I've actually recorded much musical this month at all, actually. I'm pretty sure nothing. But anyway, I haven't been in a musical mood. But anyway, I've released a song that I did several months ago. In fact, I think last year. Not last year, but, a while ago. It's the first track from the upcoming album. This is going to be a more experimental album. It's going to be the third album in the Sound Pieces series. The first one was Sound Pieces, the second one was Cloud Pieces. This album is going to be called Decay Pieces, and the first single, Greasy Eyes, is out now. In fact, it's been out since like the 3rd or whatever. I can't remember what exact day I released it, but it doesn't matter, it's out now. In December, the B-side to that single, called Don't Play Around in the Snow Like That, You're Gonna Catch Your Death a Cold, will be coming out in December, quite appropriately, because it's Christmas and all that. It's not a particularly Christmassy song, but you know what I mean. And then the full album will come in February. So that is other things I've done this month. Obviously, I recorded a lot more gaming stuff. In fact, rendering as we speak. In fact, you may be able to hear my computer whirring. The reason it's whirring is because I'm currently rendering part 17 of Amnesia Rebirth. Part 15 was released literally 26 minutes ago, exactly as I'm saying those words. It came out at 4 p.m. It is now 4:26 p.m. So I'm keeping ahead of the flu, so to speak. So there, I've also recorded the entirety. Not the entire. What am I talking about? I've recorded the first 2 parts of Half-Life 2. The first of which will be, of course, coming out on Monday, next Monday. So, there, you can look forward to that. I know there are some people looking forward very much to seeing me play Half-Life 2, even though I've already played it, but anyway. There, plans for and Halloween, obviously Halloween very well. We got about 100 people came to the house. So that was very good. So that's most people we've ever had come, I think. But either way, it was good. I got quite a few sweeties. I didn't go out, but stuff that's left, I get to keep some of. Not all of it, because I want to save some for next year, of course. But I've got some quite sour lollipops, and I like sourness a lot. I like not having any taste buds. That's always my favourite, so that's good. There were some chocolate coins. There were some non-sour lollipops, which always cut my tongue. Which is part of the enjoyment of having a lollipop, to be honest. You haven't truly enjoyed a lollipop if you haven't had your tongue cut open. But anyway, plans for next month. Do more of what I have been doing, I suppose. Hopefully do more, because I haven't really done much this month. I've got a few ideas for videos, and a couple of videos that are in progress. but we'll see. I'd like to do some more film talk, because it's been a couple of years since I've done a film talk. Did that South Park one, but that was TV talk, wasn't it? So yeah, but I got some ideas for that. So hopefully I might be able to start work on them soon if I can be bothered. I'm just kind of bored recently, so that's why I haven't been doing much. Apart from gaming videos, because it's really easy to do gaming videos. It takes no effort whatsoever. You just play a game and record yourself doing it. It's easy. And I enjoy every part of it. I enjoy filming it and playing the game, and I enjoy editing it, and I enjoy making the thumbnail, and I enjoy coming up with the title and all that. So that's fine. So yeah, that is plans for next month. Things I have watched this month. So, a few science fiction films, and I plan to watch some more later as well. But I've watched 3 science fiction films. The first of which was Escape from New York, 1981. That is a John Carpenter film, which I started watching quite a few months ago. I got 10 minutes in and just wasn't in the mood for it, but I enjoyed it a lot, now that I've actually seen it. Has a load of actors in it who I like, and who I know from other things. And it's a very good film. I don't really have a review. I mean, it's just kind of a very simple, basic kind of film, It's a good film. It's one of those classic 80s films, But it's, it's... Probably the film it's closest to is They Live, another John Carpenter one. Because, of course, John Carpenter is one of the greatest directors of all time, and that is one of the greatest films that he's done. They Live is better, though. They Live is his best film. No, actually, In the Mouth of Madness is his best film, then They Live, then probably this. Also, I rewatched Halloween 2. I watched Halloween 2 years ago, but I've just watched just yesterday, being Halloween, and me and Mum normally watch Halloween on Halloween. But because we've watched it so many times, it kind of got boring, so we watched Half-Life 2. We watched Half-Life 2. We watched Halloween 2 yesterday instead. It was my second time watching it, my mum's first time watching it, and still a very good film. I mean, I'd say it's probably as good as the first film, because Halloween, it is a classic, but it's not a great film. It's not, it's good, but it's not fantastic, So I'd say Halloween 2 is probably as good as the first film. But that's all that. Then I watched The Andromeda Strain from 1971. Now, this is one of those classic science fiction films that, I've heard about for years and never gotten around to watching it until this month. Or last month, I suppose. October. Released in 1971. It is very good. It's about a group of scientists who sort of go... I didn't even tell you what Escape from New York is about. Escape from New York is about... New York has been turned into a one big prison, which isn't a bad idea, but it has gone wrong in the film. It could work. I'm a bit of a utopian like that. It could work in real life if it was done well, but of course in the film it's done badly. Things you never see good stuff in fiction, do you? Because it doesn't make an interesting story. A story is things going wrong. Or things being wrong, So you're never going to see a science fiction film where it's in this perfect society where everything's going well and everyone's being nice to each other, because that wouldn't make a good film, But it gives you the impression that it's impossible for things to be good, which is, of course, probably true. But we shouldn't think like that. We should be more hopeful and optimistic about it. But anyway, Escape from New York, the president's plane crashes and Kurt Russell has to go in and save him. But anyway, The Andromeda Strain is about a group of scientists who discover an alien virus. Well, it's not actually a virus, to be fair. Or is it a virus? It's an alien organism. And they have to find out what it is. And it's a very scientific film. it goes through the stages of what it would really. It's probably one of the most realistic science fiction films ever. It's barely science fiction, to be honest. But it's well, I mean, it is science fiction, isn't it? Because it's about an alien virus. But still, it's a really good film. And probably the best of the ones I've watched this month. But I don't want to say that too strongly because the next one's very good as well. But yeah. So. And there's just a good load of great characters, and it is just a really great film. And special effects by Douglas Trumbull, who, as we know, is one of the great special effects people of that time. And he does some great stuff in this film. And the sound design is great, music's great, all that. And it's just a very, very, very good film. So there. And then I watched Outland from 1981. Now this is a very interesting film. It's a Sean Connery science fiction. The only science fiction film I've ever seen Sean Connery do. He's usually a very sort of normal, without lack of a better term. You know what I mean? I haven't really seen him do any science fiction before. I know he has done. I know Zardoz. I haven't seen Zardoz yet, but it's on the list. But I know that's a very weird film. But Outland is very alien-like, according to the director, or at least I've heard someone say that the director said. I haven't actually heard the director say this himself, but I've heard someone say that in an interview when the film came out, the director said that it's literally meant to be set in the same universe as Alien. And I definitely can see that, because the sets are very similar. The spacesuits are almost identical. In fact, I'm pretty sure, again, I don't know, but I've heard that they actually reused the spacesuits from Alien in this film. So, and it wouldn't surprise me. Same producer, Alan Ladd. Or, I don't know if he counts as the producer of Alien, but he definitely was involved in its production. But yeah, it's a great film. Definitely Alien-like. I mean, I've watched a couple of videos talking about it, and now that's cemented it. In my head, it is set in the same universe as Alien. I haven't heard any of the people who worked on Alien confirm it, but the people who worked on this have confirmed it, so, it may not be officially part of the Alien universe, but it is to me. And it was very good. And then I watched series 3 and 4, which were transmitted from 2012 to 2014, of My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. I'm enjoying this show now. I'm enjoying the show. I'm not a brony, because that is cring. Just as I'm not a Whovian, which is also cring. But anyway, I'm enjoying the show. Twilight's got wings now. She's gotten herself a pair of wings. She's flapping about all over the place. Being a princess. And such. I can remember very little about them. I know they had like a couple of arcs. Like the Series 3 arc. Which Series 3 was... The reason I watched 2 series of it this month is because Series 3 is half the length of all the other... Like every single series has 26 episodes. Apart from Series 3, which has 13. I mean, there will have been some production reason, but I don't know what it was. Maybe it's something to do with syndication. That's probably what it was. It tends to... Whenever you see an American show where the seasons have like weird numbers, like most of them have the same, and then a couple of seasons will have like a really short or a really long thing, it's usually something to do with syndication. So... Which is when they sell it to another country, basically. And you need like a set number of episodes to sell it, so they'll do a season shorter than they have to, or a season a bit longer than they usually would, for just to get that round number to do it. Which I don't know what the number is, but it's probably something to do with that. But anyway, Series 3 is about her sort of overcoming things. And therefore by becoming a princess and get a princess and getting some wings. And series 4 is about her getting used to being a princess. And doing princessy things. I wouldn't know what those be because I can't remember, but I am enjoying this show. So yeah, what can I say? It's one of the fans that make it weird, you know. I'm one of the normal ones. Anyway, so that's things I've watched this month. Things I've listened to this month now. 2 of these albums, which of course I've listened to for the very first time this month, I've already got on vinyl. I got them from eBay. They're not in my collection yet though. They're downstairs and I'm gonna get them for Christmas. But I buy them and then my mum can wrap them up and then I can get them for Christmas. So there. But the first one I listened to was the Rolling Stones' Emotional Rescue from 1980. This is the ones that I've got on record. This is probably, I don't know if it's my favourite, but it's definitely one of my favourite Rolling Stones albums already. I really like this album. This is definitely like the sequel to Some Girls. Very similar sound. A bit more muddy than Some Girls. Some Girls is slightly more crisp. That might be something to do with the remaster, I don't know, but this one seems slightly more muddy than, like the mix seems slightly more muddy than Some Girls. But anyway, some great songs on this. My favourite 3 being in number 3 to number 1 being Send It To Me, She's So Cold, and Let Me Go are my 3 favourites of that. Also, Down in the Hole gets a honourable mention because it's kind of a slow blues kind of thing, which I'm definitely into at the moment. But it's a great album. It's a very sort of, I don't know about metallic, but definitely a very new wave, you know, post-punk sounding album, which has always really been my thing. So yeah, I very much like this album. Definitely one of the best Rolling Stones albums. And I love the cover as well with the sort of, you know, the sort of thermo vision thing. And they also did a music video for the title track Emotional Rescue with that thermal vision stuff, which is dreadful to watch because you can tell they were just pointing a camera at the screen that was showing the thing, and they obviously, the frame rate of the camera and the frame rate of the screen obviously didn't match, so it's constantly blinking. I mean, it is, and the fact that it's not great quality as well, because it's not considered the official video. The official video on the Rolling Stones channel was a one that they did just a regular music video with them dancing around in the room. Side note, the 1980s, like the late 70s and early 80s Rolling Stones music videos are probably some of the worst music videos ever. Because it's always just them in a room miming badly to the song. Like, probably the least creative music videos ever. It's just them in a room just crappily miming to it. I mean, completely pointless video. But moving on. If they'd recorded the Emotional Rescue video right the first time, like they'd got the camera and the screen's frame rate to match, or they'd just gotten it on the tape rather than pointing a screen at a camera, which seems like an unnecessary step for me. Maybe they did it on purpose, I don't know, but either way, it's kind of silly. If they'd done it right, if they'd filmed it properly, it could have been a great music video, but it is awful to watch, you know? It's a great concept, the thermal vision, but they just did it really awfully, so, yeah, you know. But anyway, then, their follow-up, 1981's Tattoo You. This one was okay, but this album, it really shows that it's made up of leftovers. Emotional Rescue was partly made up of leftovers as well, some of them recorded from the Some Girls sessions, but Tattoo You is entirely made up of leftovers from the previous 2 albums. The earliest going back to Goat's Head Soup, which is one of my favourites as well, but you can tell why some of these were left off of that album. obviously it has Start Me Up, which is a great song, and Neighbours, which Neighbours I do like, but it's kind of just a remake of Send It To Me from the previous album. If you listen to Send It To Me from Emotional Rescue and then Neighbours from Tattoo You, you'll hear what I mean. They're essentially the same song, but it's still good. And then No Use in Crying, which I think was from the Black and Blue sessions. That's probably the best song on the album, I'm not sure. Start Me Up used to be one of my favourite songs, but I've heard it so many times now that it's kind of boring. Like, if I had never heard it, and I listened to this album for the first time, that'd probably be my favourite song, but because I've heard it so many times, it kind of gets old, you know? But anyway, so yeah, that is that best song. If I had to recommend one song, it'd probably be No Use in Crying. So, there. That's the slower song, and the faster song would be Neighbours. But the thing about this album has a very similar problem that Bob Dylan's Bringing It All Back Home was, and that they did that kind of thematic thing where side 1 is the fast songs and side 2 is the slow songs. And so it means you get through side 1 really quick. I mean, they last the same amount of time, but you know what I mean? You get through it like it flies by, and then side 2 is just like a slog. It's just because it's like it is like 5 really slow songs in a row, and it's kind of boring. And again, if they just sequenced, like, they're all good songs, but it's just sequenced really badly because they wanted to do that thing of having the fast songs on one side and the slow songs on the other side, which doesn't make any sense. Again, this is going to be one of the albums that before I put it on my phone, I'm going to shuffle around the track listing and make it better. I did that with Bob Dylan's Bring That All Back Home. It's not on my phone yet, but it's in the sort of waiting pile on my computer, ready to go on my phone, and I've changed the track listing around and made it better. I might do a video talking about the changes that I made at some point, but not very soon because I can't be bothered. But basically, I've made the Bob Dylan album better, and I intend to make this album better as well by changing the track listing. So there. Then I listened to a couple of Jimi Hendrix albums. The first 2 posthumous albums, both released in 1971. First of which, The Cry of Love. This one I've also got on vinyl. Again, it's not in my collection yet. It's downstairs waiting for Christmas. I had to get it though, even though I think I prefer the other one that I've listened to this month. I had to get this one because of the album cover. Because the album cover goes perfectly with Electric Ladyland, which I've also got. And the album covers just complement each other perfectly. So, yeah. That's that. I can't actually really remember many of the songs on this. I think probably Easy Rider I remember liking quite a lot. So if I had to recommend one song from The Cry of Love, it would be Easy Rider. Spelt weird. For fun. And then I listened to his album Rainbow Bridge, also released 71. This one probably better. This one's more guitar-based. That one's more song-based. This one's more guitar-based. There's obviously still songs on it. This I've listened to once. I did remember really enjoying it. I just cannot remember a single thing about it, other than that I enjoyed it. I need to listen to this more to get it in my brain, you know? But there's this really long song called Hear My Train A-Comin', which is 11 minutes long, which I remember really enjoying, because I like long songs. I mean, it's weird, because I never go back and listen to them on their own. I only ever listen to them in the context of an album, or occasionally, like Midnight Rambler by the Rolling Stones, I go back to on its own all the time. But usually, a long song, like anything longer than 5 minutes, I never listen to on its own. I only ever listen to it in the context of an album. But when I do, I really enjoy it. I like long songs where you just sort of get into the groove of it for ages and it lasts a really, really long time. And that is why I thought I might enjoy the next album that I listened to. And that was Miles Davis' 1975 album Agata, or however that's pronounced. Now, Miles Davis, he's kind of one of those people who you hear about all the time, but you never get around to listening to. And I know he's mainly famous for his earlier, like, 50s stuff, which is just like straight straight jazz, just stuff, which isn't my thing. I've heard some of it, and it's just, it's not my thing. But this is my thing. This is jazz rock. This is jazz fusion. This is the kind of stuff I really like. And this is essentially, just like I said with that last album, where there's that 11-minute song, which is essentially one song. Well, no, that is one song. You know what I mean? It's them jamming on one idea for like 11 minutes. This album is them jamming on pretty much one idea for like nearly 2 hours. And it's really, really good. It is, they are different pieces of music, but it is just them jamming. And like every single song is like half an hour long, and it's just them, it's just them jamming. And this is a great album. I'm gonna need to listen to it a few more times to really get it in my head, because I have only listened to it once, but I really, really enjoyed it. If you like really slow, sort of jam-based music. Sorry, Digby, you've been here for a few minutes and I didn't see you in the chat. Hello, Digby. I am fine. I am good. Hello. Sorry, I didn't see you there. Well, you've actually only been there a couple of minutes. Hi. Welcome. So this album is one that, if you like very slow, it's not slow. What am I saying? I mean, if you like a band jamming on one idea for ages, Agatha by Miles Davis is one that I recommend. I can't really recommend any individual song, because they're all really long, and they're not really songs, they're sort of pieces, But that is that. So yeah. I am now going to recap, going to go through everything. If you can only watch or listen to one thing I've done this month, I've only done one, Greasy Eyes, the Moid song, so you'll have to do that. But of course, I do have a gaming channel as well, which obviously Digby knows about, but anyone else who may watch this in the future, like no one, for example, might not know that I have a gaming channel. So go and watch my stuff there, man. But anyway, best thing that I've watched, depending on how you like your sci-fi, it's either the Andromeda Strain or Outland. If you like something more methodical and sort of like hard science fiction based, the Andromeda Strain. And if you like something a bit more action based and a bit more modern, Outland, but from 1981. Digby, how I design the background of my thumbnails. If you're talking about these monthly update thumbnails, what I do is it's a picture of if you go back to the really early monthly updates, like and some of the weekly updates, you'll see it's essentially a photograph of clouds. Not one that I took, I just got it from Google Images. And I basically I manipulate the colours in my photo editing software, which I always forget what it's called. It is called Macromedia Fireworks MX. Macromedia Fireworks MX 2004. And I basically just tweak the colours and get like really sharp contrast. Like I go into the curves and I get like a really sharp contrast like that, and that kind of splits the colours up. And then I tweak the colours and I mess around with it until it's unrecognisable. But that is still a picture of clouds. And basically I just try and get the colours. Well, usually I just do whatever colours look good, but like if it's October, I try to get oranges in there to be like the Halloween, like the pumpkin, so that's why there's orange there. And when it's Christmas, I try to get green and red in there to get the Christmassy kind of flavour. But for all other months, I just do whatever colours I think look good. And if you go into the live tab on my channel and you scroll through all of those, you'll see, if you go back to the early ones, you'll realise they are pretty much just pictures of clouds, and I change like the background colour. And then as you get into the more deeper ones, I start changing the colour of the clouds as well as the background, and then I start messing around with the contrast and just sort of getting it to the point where it's unrecognisable. And the point we're at now, you can't even really tell that they're clouds. But I basically I don't know how it got to that point. I don't know why I had the idea when I first started doing the weekly updates to have a picture of a cloud as the thumbnail. I don't know why I had that idea, but I just, I just have a bit of fun in my editing software. And you can too with the new Biz washing up powder. So that. Oh yeah, and then if I had to recommend one album, it would be the Rolling Stones' Emotional Rescue. If you like more song-based stuff, and if you like more jam-based stuff, I cannot not recommend Miles Davis' Agata, which is one of the... I mean, again, I've only listened to it once, but it was so great. I'm going to need to listen to it a lot more to really understand it. What software do I use for my music? I use Audacity. Basically. Audacity, it's free. Yeah, just... I plug this very microphone. Usually if I'm recording guitar, I'll stick this very microphone next to the amp and record straight into that. Occasionally I've plugged the guitar straight into the computer and recorded it that way, but usually, because I like to hear what sound I'm actually playing, I'll go through, it goes through the amp, and I'll apply my effects there, and then just stick the microphone next to the amp. Vocals through this, as much as I'm doing right now. Guitar, like acoustic guitar, again, stick this next to it. I don't use the sock then. I take the sock off if I only have the sock on if I'm doing vocals. And that's that. I'll occasionally do stuff in the computer, like drums is something I have to sample, usually, because I don't really have proper drums. I have, like, pots and pans and stuff that I bang on, and I'll usually combine that with, like, there's a very useful AI website that I use to separate the drums out, so I'll get, like, a Fleetwood Mac song. This is a trade secret, no one's allowed to know this, but I'll sometimes get, like, a Fleetwood Mac song, and because it's essentially a metronome, because Mick Fleetwood is really, like that. And so I'll take the drums out of the mix using the AI. Don't tell anyone this. And I'll put it in my song. And then I'll record my own drums on top, and I'll mix them so that it has a slightly more unique sound. And that's what I do. Assuming the song has drums, that is. You're wondering why I'm looking up there. That's where I am. That's my face. I should be looking in the camera, but I always have this habit of looking at me. I mean, how could you not look at me? No wonder why the drums sound so good. Yeah. Because it ain't me. It's Mr. Fleetwood. Not on all my songs. I mean, like, I've used it on a few. Sometimes it is just me clanging on stuff. But the ones where you can hear actual drums, it's usually Mick Fleetwood. I think it's always Mick Fleetwood. I've done, like, earlier songs, I use, like, drum samples that I don't know who was playing them. But recently, it's been Mick Fleetwood. If you ever want to know anything about a specific song, Digby, you can just ask in Discord. You can just say, like, what did you do in this song? And I'll break it down for you. So yeah. Das ist all for this time. I hope you've all had a wonderful October. I hope you all have a wonderful November. I hope you've enjoyed the live stream. I hope you listen to some good music. I hope you watch some good films and some good television programs. Yeah, I know, Digby. I saw that video you uploaded about taking a break. Probably a good idea. I've been taking a bit of a break myself. My breaks aren't announced. I just sort of stop. Like, when did I actually last work on a track? When would this have been? When did I do this song? Because this is a song for, like, 3 albums in the future. Because I'm working on kind of 3 albums at once at the moment. Because they each have a sound. And so the acoustic songs are going on one album, the blues songs are going on another album, and then the more experimental songs are going on a different album. This was the last one that I worked on. When did I do this? This was the 27th of September. So that's that. The 27th of September was the last time I worked on anything music related. It's always good to take a break. If you're not enjoying doing something, you shouldn't do it. That's my motto, is do things that you like doing, and don't do things that you don't like doing. For the most part, you know. I mean, I doubt surgeons like cutting people open, but it's their job, you know what I mean? But as artists, we don't need to do that. We can do what we want, and that's the best thing about it. Cheers. That's what I say. I opened this about 4 hours ago, and it's been in the fridge, so it's flat, but cold. So there. That is all for this time. Hope you've enjoyed. Hope you've had a good Halloween, Digby, and everyone else. Everyone in the world. I assume you celebrate Halloween. Some people probably don't. I doubt they celebrate Halloween in the Middle East. It wouldn't really seem their style. But, you know, who knows? But yeah. That is all for this time. Hope you all enjoyed. Of course, an amnesia video came up. Well, now, an hour ago. Literally. An hour ago to the minute. Amnesia Rebirth Part 15 came out. On Monday, Half-Life 2 Part 1 of the replay will be coming out. I hope you look forward to that. That's all this time. I'll see you guys next time.